What's up, guys? Benny Adams here, Hollywood Junket. We're talking all about the finale of The Bachelorette. And today I'm so excited because I'm joined by a special guest, a fan of the show, Valerie. So we're talking all about this epic finale. I thought it was epic. But Valerie, I want to ask you overall, what did you think about the show? What did you think about this finale?
So I feel like it kept me on my toes throughout the whole time because I really was kind of torn. Like I didn't, I kind of felt she was going one way, but then my heart was like, no, she has to go another way. And it was really unpredictable to me based on last week's episode because I was floored when she let Joe go. Like I didn't see that coming at all. So because of that, I was like, oh God, what's gonna happen now? Because that just threw me off. I kind of figured that I knew like Joe was gonna stay, it was gonna be between Joe and Brandon, but no, I was wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the brilliance of this season. You know, it definitely did keep us on our toes, and she definitely didn't keep the people around that we thought that would make it to the end, or at least make it further in the game than other people did. So yeah, the finale was great. I loved it. So we get to the beginning of the episode, and we see that Caitlyn is hosting the live episode. She's by herself. What did you think about Caitlyn's hosting abilities?
I feel like she did the best she could, given the circumstances. I'm sure, because it's so unpredictable right now with everything that's going on. So I think she did what she could, right? She didn't have Tayshia to feed off of or anything. So she did her best. She did her best.
I actually really liked her hosting. I don't know. I thought she did a really good job. Like I felt she was conversational. She was relatable. But this is the first time that I'm seeing her host, so I don't know. But I thought she did a pretty good job. I don't know, but let's just get to the first thing that we see in this finale, where it's Brandon meets Michelle's parents, and overall, they loved him. They loved him. They adored him. Brandon was super comfortable. He got her father swimming trunks. What did you think about that whole dynamic between the parents and Brandon?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, Brandon is a great communicator. What I noticed like more and more, especially this last episode, is his direct eye contact towards people when he speaks, and you can feel the genuineness through him. And it's almost like, her parents, he had her parents in the palm of his hand, right? I mean, he said everything right. He was sincere. He was genuine. They probably also felt a little bit more comfortable because they got to speak to him before too, right? So I just felt like he laid his heart out. And like Lavon said, like she can tell, she's a feeler. And like you can just feel how much he felt like this was it for him, and that she was it, and she was, the woman of his dreams and all of that. So I don't blame the parents for reacting the way they did towards him. I probably would have said the same thing, like, we will welcome you into our family, because it did seem like he would fit right in.
It honestly seemed like he was part of the family. It seemed like he had been part of the family for years, how comfortable they were with each other. And even Ephraim said that Brandon reminds him so much of himself, which I thought was really cool. So I don't know, I really, really liked that dynamic between them. So now we do the switcheroo where we go to Nayte, and Nayte meets the parents, and I feel like it was the complete opposite.
Completely.
And Nayte just seemed, he was just really nervous. It was awkward at times.
Yeah.
Just your overall thoughts before we get more into that meeting, your overall thoughts on the meeting with Nayte and the parents.
Yeah, well, throughout the season, I just know, he isn't the best communicator when it comes to his feelings, and like, so I wasn't expecting much, to be honest, with that meeting. But, you know, after seeing Brandon, it's like, I would be concerned if I were, Michelle's parents, because it's like, it took him so long to answer questions.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't sure about things, and it's like he wasn't articulating himself well.
Right.
And I mean, I'm sure that they can't help but to compare
Oh,
that
of course.
with Brandon. And so it's like, you look at that and you're like, he doesn't seem sure to me. And Lavon was, based on her impression and how she was feeling, like, he came across as like uncertain. He came across as, I love her, but I, I know I just want to be with her and I want this adventure. But he wasn't really answering the question about, are you committed? Are you going to get on one knee? Are you going to propose? Like, do you see a future with, moving to Minnesota? He was like, I never thought about that. And then Brandon was like, yeah, in a heartbeat, like, this is what I would do. So it was just a lot of uncertainty when he was talking to the parents, and it made them uneasy. I can
Yeah,
tell.
100% agree. And they asked him some pretty tough questions, like you had just mentioned. So I want to know, because and you had mentioned this prior before we started this, but um, Brandon did not meet, or Brandon met the parents beforehand,
Right.
while Nayte didn't. So do you think if Brandon had never met the parents, do you think the dynamics would be different? Do you think he would be a little bit more nervous, kind of like how Nayte was?
Yeah, I think he would be more nervous, but I still think he would have carried himself the way he did. I still
Mhm.
feel like, you know, um, there, I feel like there would have been still some comfortableness with him, just because of how he is. But I'm sure, but he channels his nervousness very well, though. So
Mhm.
we probably wouldn't have seen as much outwardly nervousness as we did with Nayte with Brandon, I feel.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so we go to Brandon and Michelle's last day, and it's just perfect. Everything is going so well for them. They go to the, what is it called? The suite.
Yeah.
And Brandon, he gets her a gift. Everything is just amazing. What are your thoughts so far on this? Are you like, all right, Brandon's got it in the bag. He's got this. He's going to win, because there is nothing bad. We're not seeing any red flags about him. And
Yeah.
I'm just scratching my head. I'm like, there has to be something wrong with this guy, because
Yeah.
it's just too perfect. What were your thoughts on that?
I, the whole time, like the whole show, I was on edge. I was like, because he seems so perfect. We know without a shadow of a doubt, he would do anything for her. He was more ready than I've seen anyone
Mhm.
being, on the show. And all I kept thinking was like, Michelle, look who's in front of you. No red flags. Family loves him. You know, you guys have so much in common. He's willing to relocate, like all of these things, right? But at the same time, I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't want his heart to be broken. And towards the end, and when she started to, talk to him, and what did she say? She was like, I know how much you love me. I know that you're there for me. And there's something that's been heavily on my mind. I was like, oh my God, I thought the worst. I thought like, oh my God, she's gonna tell him right now, like it's over.
Mhm.
But then she flips in, and says, I didn't want to say it. I've been fearful, but I'm falling in love with you. And so that gave me hope. That
Yeah.
gave me a glimmer of hope. Like, okay, maybe like she really sees that he he's like perfect for her.
Mhm.
So
I can see if they gave, Brandon a little bit of a bad edit as well. I would be like, okay, it's not going to be as bad. But I'm like, all
mhm,
right, if he doesn't win, this is gonna be a little awkward. But we'll
right.
talk more about that later. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about Nayte and Michelle's last date. And so this was Nate's last chance to open up because he's not really having, the best of luck opening up to Michelle. This whole season, pretty much, Michelle has made it known that she wants these guys to be vulnerable. She wants
Mhm.
these guys to
Yeah.
open up. And so
Mhm.
Nayte, he's made it all this way. He still hasn't really opened up. And so we get to this date where, they're forced to, be very honest, to be very open with each other. And it is a little cringy at first, but it starts getting better. I just wanted to know, what were your overall thoughts on that date with Nayte and Michelle?
Yeah, well, you can tell by the look on her face when they first saw each other for the date that, she was uneasy based on what her
Mhm.
family told her and how they felt. And
Yeah.
so, and then she mentioned about the red flag. And I'm thinking to myself, tomorrow you have to make this decision. And if you know that you have a red flag with one person and no red flags with another, what's the like it should be a
Yeah.
clear cut decision. Like you know, what's the problem? And so I know that she was really wanting to hear certain things from Nayte that would reassure her that she doesn't have stronger feelings than he does, that it was mutual and equal.
Right.
Um, and to me, to be honest, like I could tell just by her facial expressions, her body language, she was so attracted to Nayte, like physically. Like you can tell she was so, and for the longest time, I was like, she's in lust. Like she's in lust. That's what it is. Like you're not seeing past the lust because
Mhm.
she is so, you can tell by the way they kiss, like she's so incredibly attractive, physically attracted to him. So there's all this fireworks connection, all of that. But I'm thinking,
Mhm.
I don't think this is real. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's driving you. But I mean, for the first time at the end of the night with Nate and Michelle, I did see more of his vulnerability and then breaking down and admitting that he hadn't really thought of what it would be like to not have her, in his life, and that, he was really thinking about that for the first time and it scared him and it allowed him to open up more. So
Yeah.
I did see at that point, and I saw the relief in Michelle's eyes once he let that out, like, okay, we're on the same page. And
Right.
so that made me even more nervous because I was like, oh God, I feel like I feel like it's not gonna go the way I thought it would.
Yeah, yeah, I did like when Nate did finally open up because all season we really didn't see that side of him. So I really was glad we did get to see that. And I was getting worried because I was like, if we still don't see this, it's gonna be, night and day between the two guys. And
Totally
so as soon as she said, because I remember she said something, after he had opened up, this is what I've been waiting for.
waiting for. Yep.
And so I'm like, all right, so now the decision is going to be a little bit more harder between the
Yeah.
two.
But I
So,
feel like, I kept saying this throughout the season that he seemed emotionally unavailable.
mhm,
And she was wanting a guy to, break down his walls and be there emotionally. And so I was like thinking, how could this work between them?
yeah,
Because and by the way he was raised, like I remember when his parents were there and how he was saying they never expressed their emotions or feelings towards each other. So how are you going to do that differently with her? Because that's what she needs that.
Right.
And so, you know, I know that's going to be a continual work in progress with him, because that doesn't change overnight, you know.
And so I also want to talk about Brandon. So he sent her a letter after the date, heartfelt message, more opening up, pouring out his feelings. I'm not gonna lie. And the thing is, I love Brandon. I'm team Brandon. You know, I wanted him to win. But did you think it was a little cringy? I thought it was a little cringy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So it was a bit overkill. And just based on the fact that, you know, a couple episodes, or no, was it last episode, where, you know, he pulled at the rose ceremony, he pulled her aside to express his feelings once again, to, you know, reassure himself or her. And I felt like this was like, okay, this is a bit over the top. I mean, I understand why he did it, but
Yeah.
just it's kind of just let it be. Like, she's going to make that decision. And I know you're trying to do whatever you can to persuade her to choose you, but somebody could look at that as being desperate or being like way too much. And that can pull someone away too. You know,
I agree. I 100% agree. And I think his competitive side got the best of him, because while this is a dating show, these guys are competing against each other. But like you said, for this type of show, you have to just let things happen how they're supposed to happen. Which, I'm not gonna lie, that last episode when he pulled her aside, I thought he was gonna say, "Hey, I still love you, but my heart isn't in it. I can't do this anymore." I thought he was gonna quit. So I was shocked that he, you know.
Well, you know what? For a second, I thought that about the letter. Like, when
really?
she started reading, I kind of thought like, oh my God, is he like pulling out or something? Like,
Right.
it was, yeah. So for a second, I thought that too.
That would have been an easy decision for her.
Yeah, completely.
So we get to the rose ceremony. The Brandon's up first, and you know, Michelle, I'm looking at her face. She's not smiling whatsoever. She's just staring at him. And I knew he wasn't gonna. I'll explain why I knew he wasn't gonna get picked. But long story short, he didn't get picked. Were you surprised by that?
No, because me and my fiance were watching it, and she had made a point about him being first to walk down first. So that was kind of an indication, like, okay, he's probably going home. And like you said, with her facial expression, with the hug, like, there was no greeting with a kiss. Like, it was just way too intense.
Yeah.
And she was bracing herself to tell him. Like, oh my God, the look on his face. As soon as she said but, like, she said all the wonderful things, right? And it's that but. And you can tell as soon as she said that, his whole facial expression just, and I just, it crushed me. It crushed me. Like, oh God. And that's what I was afraid of. Right. Just seeing that.
Right. Yeah. It was hard to watch, but you know, I kind of mentally prepared myself a little bit for it, because I noticed throughout the entire episode, and I'm just talking about the editing wise, Brandon got an amazing edit. He got such a good edit. Nayte's edit was like 70% bad, the rest good. And I'm like, there's no way that Brandon's gonna win, because there's no surprise to it. There's no shock factor. And I remember before the episode, you know, they were saying this is gonna be the most shocking finale. And so I'm like, if Brandon gets picked, this is not going to
Right.
be shocking whatsoever. I'm like, they have to be trying to trick us, you know,
Yeah.
giving Brandon this, he 100% of Brandon, nothing
Yeah.
bad whatsoever. So it's like,
Yeah.
there's no way he's
Right.
going to win. So I wasn't shocked. I like mentally prepared myself, felt bad for the guy. He was
Yeah.
heartbroken, so
Heartbroken.
heartbroken. But
It was like a good guy versus bad guy to me. Like the
right.
not bad guy, but bad boy versus, good guy. And so with regards to Brandon's edit, it was always I always cringe when he was like, this is it. Like I know I'm walking down, I know I'm gonna propose. Like she's almost as if I know she's gonna pick me. And I'm like, mm-mm. He was
Yeah.
way too confident. And I was like, no, you can't. Nope. I don't think it's going to go that way.
You bring up a very, very, very good point. And something else I thought was really interesting, it was kind of funny, but I really couldn't hear Michelle that much because of
Yeah.
the way. Could you tell?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I
Yes.
wonder if it's like mic'd up correctly, or I don't know. It was
Right.
weird, but
Yep.
I thought that was
Yeah. I had to
interesting.
turn up my volume. I was like, oh my God, that sound is horrible.
Right, right. So overall, were you happy with Michelle's decision?
Okay. I think when I was seeing them at the final rose, it kind of made me, feel better. But I have to say, overall, though, I was happy at least that it was a Black man.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
glad you
for
mentioned
me,
that.
I know I wanted a particular person, but I was okay overall with who she picked because this is the first
Yes.
Black couple.
Thank
And
you for mentioning that. Thank you.
to
Yeah,
me,
that's
that's
so
huge.
true.
Yeah, that's huge for the, Bachelor Nation. It's huge.
And Nayte overall is the first Black male winner, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's the
Yep.
first. Yeah. So
And even
that's
though,
huge.
because like with Rachel and with Tayshia, they didn't pick,
Right.
a Black man. Like Michelle is the only one, and the top 4 were all Black.
Right. This season broke so many boundaries. I loved
Oh,
it.
it did. It was beautiful. Like I was rooting for I was rooting that way for whoever.
So we're at the after the final rose event, and we get a little sneak peek of Clayton. He's the newest bachelor, and we see, a little trailer of what his season is going to be about. I want to know, what are your thoughts on Clayton's upcoming season, January 3rd?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, like, I was a fan of Clayton's, with Michelle's season. Like, saw his heart, like he was genuine, like I was a fan. I didn't necessarily think he was gonna get to the top 3, but with the trailer, I am just it does. It's a definite throwback to your, the Bachelor that we're all used to seeing, right?
Yeah.
And it's just so many things. Like I told myself, I said I would watch it when he first, when they first select him and they were saying that. But after watching the trailer, I'm hella confused. Like when the end of the trailer, when the 3 women are there and he's confessing that he was intimate with 2, why am I seeing these women? Like for me, that loses, like, why would I watch the whole season? That's what I keep thinking when I see that. I'm like, why would you show these women? Like now I know at least who 2 of them are, I believe. Why would I see all of these other relationships when I know they're not going to end up being I don't know.
Right.
That it just is a turn off to me completely.
No, you make a very valid point, because when the season does come on, we have like these intense rose ceremonies, and we have, you know, the two of the girl. What if it's like one of the girls that we saw in the trailer against another girl?
Yeah.
That we already know who's gonna go home.
We already know. That's why I don't understand why the producers did that. Like, I understand for shock value and for drama for him to say I was intimate, but why are you showing the women's faces? Why are you doing that? Because for me, for the kind of viewer I am, that like spoils it. That spoils, you know, the anticipation up to those final episodes with who are the top three? Who is he going to choose for fantasy suites?
Yeah.
It like makes no sense to me.
But you never know when it comes to editing because, you know, nothing is what it seems. So I want to ask you, you know, when it comes to all of this editing for these shows, do you think that, you know, there's a possibility that, you know, he could not even pick anyone?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be that. I just was completely thrown off with the trailer.
100% agree. 100% agree. I want to talk a little bit. I want to go back to Brandon a little bit because, you know, he came on and he talked about, you know, his feelings for not getting picked. And he asked Michelle, he brought up to Michelle, you know, you never had to question, you know, me or me pouring my heart out to you, but you always had to question Nayte. Right. And I'm trying to remember, did she give him a valid answer to that? Because I don't remember her giving an answer.
I don't remember either.
And that was the one thing that I wanted her to answer.
Yeah, I don't think she did.
Okay.
I know it because I was like, oh wow, I'm glad he said that.
That was the one answer that I wanted. So I don't know. I guess we'll never know. What did you think? And I forgot to mention this. What did you think about the mean tweets that they read?
I thought it was hilarious. Like I mean, I could relate to some of the mean tweets. Like kind of, you know, I wasn't mad at some of those tweets.
And you know what? I'm glad they showed the tweets. You know, I'm glad they, you know, it's kind of like, I don't want to say owning up to anything, but you know, I'm glad they're not like hiding away from anything and they're showing, you know, what some people's real thoughts are. And I can't not respect that, you know?
Right. And especially the tweet about Rodney. Like I would rather see Rodney because, you know, like we mentioned, it's almost like I kind of feel like with the Bachelor franchise, they're thinking like, okay, we gave you diversity. We gave you, you know, we gave you what y'all wanted to see. Now let's go back to like what, you know, what it is it kind of feels that way. Because we had Matt, now we had Michelle. It's like, what is it? It's like, okay, we can't do, you know, we can't do two people of color back to back. That's just crazy. We gotta
like why though? You know, like why?
You know, we gotta add we gotta add the vanilla back in. We gotta do it.
You know, like why not have like an Asian guy, you know, a Mexican guy? Potential Bachelor seasons after Clayton. So I know with the Bachelorette, they were 2 back-to-back seasons. Do you think they're going to do that with the Bachelor? Do you think we're going to get another Bachelor after Clayton's season? And do you think it's going to be Brandon because he had such an amazing edit?
I hope that Brandon would be the next Bachelor. Like I really do. He deserves, you know, like we all felt so crushed, right? Like just seeing him, you know, be completely just heartbroken. As a redemption, like I would love it if he, you know, were the next Bachelor. I hope that, you know, it is another man of color. That would be great. I mean, for me, he would be the top. I originally was thinking Rodney, but now after seeing this final episode, I'm like, oh no, I mean, they have to consider Brandon.
Yeah. Brandon got an amazing edit. And this takes me back to the episode where Clayton got eliminated. He got a really good edit. He even got a little, because usually when they leave the show, that's it. When they don't get their rose, they're gone.
Yeah.
He got a little extra bit in the episode with the letter and the kids. It was amazing. It was a tearjerker. So
totally.
This would be the perfect opportunity for Brandon to be the Bachelor because of just how he was portrayed. People love the guy.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like people would be rooting for him and they would want to see his new journey to find love.
Yeah. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But that is it. Thank you guys for coming on and hearing us chat our mouths off about the finale of The Bachelorette. Valerie, thank you so much for coming on and talking with me about this show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. And we will see you guys next time.